everyone. We are the Gratitude Girls.
The Gratitude Girls are in the house. Hi, Lori. How are you?
Hi, Catherine.
This is a great evening for many, many reasons. Number one, we have a fantastic guest with us. Number two, it's a Gratitude Girls show. We just work our whole month around what's going to happen with us. Let's give our audience a little bit of a show before we have the actual guest of honor with us tonight. While you're fixing the tech, I'll do a brief introduction of myself and then we'll go around the room. So thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Catherine Asaro Myers, affectionately known as Rara is in the house. I'm broadcasting to you live tonight from lovely Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario, Canada. And I'm here with my amazing Gratitude Girls partner, Lori Delk-Radecki. Lori, are you available to chat with us?
Yes, I am Lori Delk-Radecki outside of Nashville, Tennessee.
Tonight, we're going to give you a quick recap about why we're here. What is the Gratitude Girls actually doing? We're 10 years. We're in our decade. Like, think about that. That went by really fast. We'll share a little bit about why we're here and how we became to be the hosts of this show. And then we will go on to talk to our guest, who we have been waiting months and months to speak to. Lori, once upon a time, we did not know each other. You were someone that I was aspiring to meet, and I had always hoped to have a chance to talk with you. And then one day, straight out of a fairy tale, Lori and I met in Salt Lake City, Utah. And Lori, I know you tell the story so well, and you take me right down that trip as if it was the very first day. Would you be willing to share that with our audience tonight?
Sure, yes. So Catherine and I are members of a direct selling company called Send Out Cards, now called Greener Still, but the main focus is Send Out Cards. And we didn't know each other. So what that means is, like, when you join the company, you can join the company and you can sell the service product to other people. And like the saying goes, you tell two friends and they tell two friends, and so on and so on and so on. You can make some extra money if you would like also. So we have thousands of customers and distributors all over the world. And our company every year has an international convention. And each year there's a theme that goes along with that convention. So 2013, the theme was gratitude. And so in June of 2013, our CEO gets up on stage and he starts talking about all the accolades and attributes of the person that's going to win this award that is elected by their peers. So like by all the customers and distributors in the company. And he called Catherine up to stage. So me being the techie person that I am, I'm in the back, I'm taking pictures, I'm taking video, doing everything I can. And then he goes into talking and saying that for the very first time ever, and the only time since then, that there was a tie that year. And so then he starts telling about the other person. And I kept trying to figure out, who is this? Who could it be? And I had been in the company for a really long time, almost since the beginning. So I knew pretty much everyone in the company. So I was like, oh, maybe it's this person. Maybe it's this person. Our CEO goes by and they gives little tips and ideas and hints. And then he finally says who it is, and he called my name. So Catherine and I actually are on different teams, but we met on stage in front of hundreds of thousands of people. And so it was really wonderful. And we both are in the mindset that nothing happens just for no reason. There's no coincidences. There's always a reason for it. We didn't know what that was at the time, but we decided Gratitude Girls was our new name. And looked it up. And of course, since I'm a webmaster, I had bought the domain right away. And we said, we'll figure it out later. But Gratitude Girls was born.
I remember that moment because my knees were sort of wobbly. You know, I was thinking, my goodness, I was so excited to be there. I was dreaming of a moment like that. And then when I heard your name, I thought, Lori, you don't tell this about yourself. Lori has been recognized for giving the most gifts in our company. And I thought, what would it be like to receive a gift from someone in our company? From Lori, like, what would that be like? Lori's given so many gifts. It stayed in my mind. What would that be like? I meet Lori on stage. We get off stage, and what is the first thing Lori does? She gives me a gift, which I still have, of course, and I can see it right on the other side of the room where I am. So true to the accolades that you have received, you are a very amazing, gift-giving gratitude girl, and I'm honored to be your partner, and for almost 10 years to be able to meet the people that we meet to share their gratitude stories. So to our audience, thank you for listening to that part of who we are and why we're here. And without any further ado, I would like to have the honor of speaking to our guests. But let me introduce Bob Loeffler today. Bob decided to get into real estate in 1984. He must have been a kid. The market was
only 40.
you were a baby. The market was terrible, and his timing could not have been worse. I'm all choked up over it. After failing miserably as a realtor for 5 years, Bob made a decision that he would change his career forever. Bob chose to actually be a professional, trained by the best in the industry, and finally earned the secret. He learned the secret to sales. He earned it too. Then Bob had immediate success. Bob and his partner went on to become the #1 top producing team of any size for Century 21 in the whole state of Arizona. As the creator of Fearless Agent Coaching and Recruiting Training, Bob teaches real estate agents the same secret of sales: how to get rich using the same skills, schedule, and systems that he personally uses. Bob teaches real estate company owners how to build their business by recruiting and retaining producing agents. There are now thousands of fearless agents all over the US, Canada, and other countries who are earning more than they ever imagined. Think about that, earning more than you ever imagined. These agents love helping each other through their profession, real estate, and they are able to enjoy the lifestyle of their dreams, all because they learned the secret of sales from Bob. Bob uses the same humor that he used in stand-up comedy and his radio shows and podcast to keep his audience engaged while delivering his content. Actually, his content is and his rich message. Breaking complex ideas into simple step-by-step practices, Bob's audience learns create concrete and creative strategies and skills that they can put into immediate use after hearing his message. Looking for a funny speaker or some serious content? You found him, Bob. Bob is a real estate speaker who will help you in your people skills, your schedules, and your systems to dramatically increase your income. Bob, welcome to the Gratitude Girls Show.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Tell us a little bit about your humor. How did that happen?
Well, as an example, your nickname is Rah Rah. I like that. I grew up in the hood, and I thought my nickname was Yo Yo. It just turns out some guys are trying to get my attention, but that's a different story. But my dad was funny. And when I was a little kid, my parents' idea of raising children was plunking them in front of the Johnny Carson show every night. So I had watched before Johnny Carson, there was Steve Allen had the Tonight Show. And before that was a guy named Jack Paar. So I watched every single episode of those shows every night. And, something's bound to rub off on you.
I knew you were going to say that, Bob. It just rubbed off on you. Plus, you're a natural. I believe that it comes by you naturally to find the humor in situations and have people laugh.
Yeah, I look for the stupid in every situation, because that's always funny. I'm always doing something stupid. I always like to point that out.
And so this leads us right into real estate. So how did you land up in real estate?
Actually, I was working in a camera shop, I was a photographer. I had a job in a camera shop, and there was a lady who would come in wearing her gold jacket. And so my job was, we had like this used camera department, kind of antique cameras, collectible cameras. So I would go through the one ads in the newspaper for estate sales looking to buy their cameras, and then we would take them and sell them in the, if they were cool cameras, we would take them and sell them in the shop. And so one day I said to her, I said, her name was Sue. I said, hey, Sue, I go through the one ads every day and I see this ad that says, we will train you to sell real estate. She goes, oh my goodness, you would be fantastic at real estate. And I go, really? So she talked me into going to real estate school. Then I get into real estate and I proved her wrong. I failed miserably for 5 years, earning a poverty level income, which is a typical career path in real estate, as most people know. So, and then I met a guy that really was the only guy. His name was Floyd Wickman, but he had this program called Sweat Hogs, and it was really the only program out there for real estate training that was actual sales training. I don't know what the other ones teach, but his thing was for real. So I took that program, and that turned me around. And then I, in my introduction, which sounded so good, it was almost like I wrote it myself. But so I'm sitting next to this lady who has 6 months in the business. I'd failed for 5 years. She had 6 months in the business with no sales or listings or hope of succeeding. So I said, well, this is different. We were at the special event. I said, this is different. I think we should do this. This will work. I'm sure of it. So we sign up and we take this 90-day program. And then 90 days later, she has 19 listings, and I had listings and sales and listings of mine that sold and closings totaling 50. So it was like overnight success. And we didn't learn a single thing about real estate, but we learned a lot about sales. And so the principles of it would work in any business, but I don't know anything about any other business except real estate. So then I went on to work for that company as a trainer. And then, I was flying around the country. They had about 1,000 airplane flights in 10 years, and then decided to do my own thing. And so by doing my own thing, now I'm in the opulent Holiday Inn Express, where I'm a Diamond Elite member. I just want you to know, it's pretty classy.
We're very impressed.
Oh, yeah.
We are very impressed. Bob, you said that you learned something, but it wasn't about real estate. It was about sales. So our audience is watching tonight. They're on the edge of their seat about what you have to say. And they might even think we're going to ask you about your predictions for the market and what's happening. But I would like to dive in a little bit about, what did you learn way back then when you were in your 40s that wasn't real estate related, but yet it helped you to get 50 listings, helped that woman to get 19 listings. You're talking about in 90 days, 70 transactions almost, some of them closed, some of them not closed. What was the point of what they taught you? What did you learn that turned things around?
Well, what I teach now and what Floyd taught me was that in any situation, you're trying to, whether it's a seller or a buyer or an investor, they tend to make bad decisions. And your job as the agent is to help them make good decisions. And if you help enough people make good decisions, they'll love you and they'll send you a steady stream of referrals, and you'll get rich doing that. So, but the key is that there's one magic question that needs to be asked in any one of those situations. So, but what Floyd taught me is there's this setup you do. So you set them up, you set them up, you set them up, you set them up, and then you ask that one magic question that has no wrong answer, and you already know the answer. So they couldn't possibly get it wrong. And they end up selling themselves on doing what is best for them ultimately. So and you can apply that to any, I know I can apply it to any sales product or service. I don't have that desire to do that because real estate's my lane, but I have done it for a couple of other businesses. Sometimes people will come to me, they see my YouTube videos, and they'll come to me and say, hey, I'm not in real estate, but I like what you do, and maybe you could fit it. And so I'll help them out a little bit, but I like to stay in my lane.
And so you're training, thank you for that. So you're training real estate agents and brokerages on how would you coin that?
Well, like there's agents that I coach where, they're brand new. They get their license. They probably go to fearlessagent.tv or something like that, watch my YouTube videos and say, oh, this sounds different. And they sign up for my coaching in the middle of the night. And then I talk to them the next day. And this is their first day in real estate. But more often than not, if they're in a company that has 300 agents, they're going to be the top earning agent in their first 12 months in the business. And it's because what I teach is to do the exact opposite of what the real estate industry teaches. So if you look at the failure rate of the real estate industry, it's astronomical. So usually about 5% of people who get their license this year will be earning an above average income or be successful. And about half of them did it by marrying the broker, or their brother-in-law is a builder or something. But the rest of them will either fail out of the business completely in 2 years, or they'll be in a constant state of failure like I was for 5 years. So we just teach them everything that the industry would teach you or a real estate company would teach you. We'd have you doing the exact opposite of every other agent in your company, and that would guarantee your success. So it's pretty simple.
It sounds a little mysterious. Now, way back when I was in my 20s, I was a broker from New York. And so I remember real estate.
Now, New York is a little state in the East Coast. Am I right about that?
Little one.
Okay. So
New York City. They call it the Big Apple, but they can call it the Little Apple.
The town's so nice, they named it twice.
Exactly. New York, New York. So I remember real estate back then, and I know what real estate is like now on the other end of the spectrum. And you said a lot of things that really resonated with me, because you said you set them up, ask the closing question, or ask the question. You didn't say closing, and they pretty much sell themselves. So in that setup that you're talking about building a relationship. Are you talking about a series of questions, the magic questions? You don't have to give it away. People will.
Oh, no, I can give it away. I mean,
Okay.
People can go to fearlessagent.tv and watch my YouTube. They see me give it away. But an example of it was what I was told to do to be successful in real estate was like social media would be a great example of that. I've never talked. I talk to more real estate agents per day than any living human. I can guarantee you that. And I've never talked to a single real estate agent that is successful because of social media in my definition of success. So, I take a brand new agent and they do 120 listings at full commission in their first 12 months. So if your goal was to, and the way to do it, here's the secret, is you book 5 listing appointments a week. It would not be odd if 2 of them were to cancel. Then you'd go on 3 and you'd do the Fearless Agent listing presentation, the Fearless Agent pricing presentation, or for sale by owner presentation, buyer, investor, whatever. And then you'd get one, if you only got one of the 3, then you'd do 40 listings at full commission. And I'm talking 50% or 100% higher commission than other agents are charging effortlessly. And if you did 40 listings at full commission in just about any company and spent no money on marketing, none of my people ever spend any money on marketing or anything, then they would certainly be either the top earner in their company or the top producer and the top earner. So.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that, Lori. I feel like you have a question for Bob. This is another great topic for you, for both of us.
You can feel her having a question. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, we're connected.
Yeah, I thought so.
Oh, you're muted, Lori.
Oh, she's muted.
I could even read her lips. Give me a second.
Let's do a Vulcan mind.
Yes, my little puppy dog was barking, so I muted for a moment. But so yeah, so this is the Gratitude Girls show, of course, and of course we are the girls, but it is all about gratitude. And so I was wondering, now we know that, you know, everybody has like a million reasons to be thankful and grateful and stories, but if you could just pick one to share with the world, what can you tell us, just one story where you're grateful and thankful for something?
Well, you know, I came from, I mentioned I grew up in the hood, but, you know, my dad, my parents, but my dad specifically, when he was 10 years old, I believe he was about 10, his father was a alcoholic who ran away from home during the Depression. So they lived in abject poverty. My dad had to, with his brother, they would hunt for possums to cook and eat to stay alive. So they did not have running water, indoor plumbing. It was horrific. But you know, my dad would tell the stories of when he was a kid. He made it sound like it was fun, you know. And I'm horrified. I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And when he was 16, he went out hunting for rabbits or something for food with his buddy. And his buddy had a shotgun and let his thumb slipped off the hammer or trigger or whatever and blew my dad's heel off. And they were going to amputate his leg at age 16. And they ended up not doing that. And then when World War II broke out, he went to enlist in the army. And he was standing in a long line of naked men to do the physical. And when he got to the front of the line, the guy with the clipboard says, "Have you ever had tuberculosis in your family before?" And he goes, "No." He goes, "Well, you do now." And he goes, "Well, what does that mean?" He goes, "You'll be dead in 6 months." Next. And he spent a year in bed in a tuberculosis sanitarium, and then another 2 after that. And that's how they treated it back then. I oddly caught tuberculosis from a homeless guy when I was doing a volunteer thing, but so I know how bad it is. But so he had a very, very difficult life, never earned more than 20 grand a year, working 2 jobs. And you know, when I was a kid, I thought we were rich. Until we met other people. You know, we changed neighborhoods, got out of the hood, went to Scottsdale, and then you know, we were the poorest people there. But you know, we never went without really, but we didn't have the stuff other kids had. But I look back on that, and I'm glad that, you know, my parents died broke, had that experience, but because, you know, they would go to church every Sunday and they were happy people. My mom was a farm girl from Towanda, Illinois. She was Rosie the Riveter during World War II, you know. You mentioned send out cards. That made me think of her actually, because there were, I think there were 18 kids that are her age that went to war in World War II. And during all of World War II, while she's Rosie the Riveter building bombs and stuff at the Buick plant, she wrote a letter to every one of those guys from her town every week. And so that's gratitude. But that kind of set me up. And then you know, I had a situation where when I was 18, I made the mistake of drinking alcohol one time. And the next day I smoked pot for the first time. The next week, I was snorting enough cocaine to make Richard Pryor look like a white boy and eating pain pills. And it was a complete instant disaster addiction. And I used to be and that turned me into a scuzzball biker. I have a little picture I'm going to show you on my phone if you can see it. So that's me with a giant afro and my leather jacket. You know, I look like a hoodlum, and I was. So, you know, I was a biker idiot. And then had the good fortune to, I went to rehab and got sober and got part of a recovery community. But that turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. Because, you know, I have a job where I get on stage and, you know, standing ovation and all that kind of junk. But at the end of the day, that job, like any job, becomes dull. And it's just another Holiday Inn Express. It's just another Enterprise rent-a-car, another Southwest Airlines flight. and you wake up and you don't know what town you're in. But the real blessing in my life is helping somebody else that's an alcoholic or a drug addict, because I know what to do. You know, I'm 25 years clean and sober. I've done that deal, and to be able to pass that on, and literally you get to save other people's lives. So there's not too many things like that where you're going to make a life-saving impact. And then in my spare time, I tell these little jokes, you know, for money. But so anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
And we're very honored that you would share that with us, Bob. And I want to congratulate you for saving lives. I really want to say that
I consider myself a last responder, you know,
I'm not a first responder.
not the first. No. I come in later.
Anybody who's watching tonight, they may reach out to you for more reasons than real estate.
That would be wonderful. I would welcome that.
I believe that would happen. I firmly believe that. You put that out there. Bob, I know we don't know each other really well, but we would like to pass the mic to you. We would like to pass the show to you for a few minutes. We'd like to see if you have a question for us, unrehearsed, completely off the cuff. If you do, please address it to who you would like to answer the question, and it could be different ones. Lori and I are honored to answer your question. Cross our fingers.
I'll start with you, Lori. Who would you say impacted your life? Like Floyd was the guy who taught me. He was kind of my mentor, and I still hang out with him every October. We go on a yacht trip together and hang out. I'm not a yacht guy. I don't have yacht clothing. I don't know nothing about that, but I look like a biker on a yacht. But and then my dad and my parents. But who would you say for you was that person that influenced you in the area of gratitude?
In the area of gratitude, well, besides my mom did a lot. My mom was a lot of my influence. I was very blessed to be brought up in a very good home and a very loving and positive environment home. And mom taught me to seek out gratitude. My grandmother taught me when I was 5, if somebody does something for you or gives you something, you are to thank them properly, because otherwise they might not ever give you anything again. And so I learned how to write thank you cards back when I was 5. But besides them two, besides family, was Zig Ziglar. He, I went to probably over 100 of his seminars, met him in person several times. I have every single one of his books. And he's just one of the biggest people that I followed for so many years before, till he passed away.
My mentor, Floyd, wrote a book called My Brother Zig, because he was his mentor. So that's interesting.
How neat.
Zig is a great guy. He is missed, and he is different than a lot of other, the self-help industry is full of a lot of charlatans, and there's a lot of scammy stuff, but Zig was a real deal. And great guy. Well, that's great. How about you? I'll ask you the same question, Rawa. Who's the person who influenced you the most?
The first person that comes to mind, and the one that comes every day, is my daughter. If it weren't for my daughter's zest and thirst for life, I don't think I would have ever been successful in real estate. If it weren't for the fact that she wanted, with her beautiful blue eyes, not one, but 2 pair of shoes, and I was a single mom wondering, how am I going to pay that mortgage? How am I going to say no to my only daughter when all she really wants is another pair of shoes? I'm grateful to her for always wanting more, not only for her, but for me, because it got me up every day and got me into the real estate market. I was a rental agent when I started before I became a broker, and I didn't know what neighborhoods not to go into, because to me, everything was possible. And my daughter really gave me the drive to not want to say no to her. I don't think that ever weaned. She's 41 and I still feel it today. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful that she is the go-getter that she is.
So you had a kid at age 12. Let's get that
Yeah,
out.
I was very young. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's a great question. We're grateful for so many things. I mean, I could have given you a list of people, but this just has always been, I say this almost every other day. If it weren't for my
Now,
daughter.
because I did not pick my daughter as the most, well, she's not allowed to watch this podcast.
Okay, we won't let her. We won't let her. My daughter was not allowed to watch this either because it's going to go to her head,
My
right?
daughter wouldn't watch anything I'm on for him, but you couldn't subpoena her to watch my. Yeah, that's out.
That's funny. It's funny, right? We can influence complete strangers, but then you
Right.
take the blood relatives that we have, blood, sweat, and tears for, and they're just not going to get into it with us.
Yeah, my wife always says, "Where are you going? Are you going to go tell your little joke somewhere? Is that what you're going to do?" Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, when you're going to get a real job, right?
That's right.
Bob, is there something that you would like to say to a seasoned agent? Because I know we're targeting new agents and brand new out of school. But what about the roller coaster life that someone might have? And, they're in or they're out of real estate, or they get a divorce, or they have a business explode in a good way or not a good way. Something changes. They're seasoned, but they're just looking for something else. Can you speak to them for a minute?
Yeah, I think most of my agents that I coach are seasoned agents. So, but it's funny that the brand new agents, I would say if you took my top 10 producers that are fearless agents, most of them were brand new when they signed up for my coaching. So they have an advantage because their head isn't all full of what the industry poisons them with. So, my advice to somebody, a seasoned agent that's coaching with me, is forget everything you've learned, pretend it never entered your mind, just start from scratch. But if you're an agent, and let's say you're not going to coach with me, like most people are not, of course. But if you're getting restarted, go back to the basics. So the basics is, you only get paid for two things in real estate. So one is scheduling an appointment, and the other is getting a signature on some sort of a contract, listing contract, purchase contract. And remember, it isn't about you, it's about them. So always do a great job for them. Kind of try to take me out of it, is the idea. So if you only get paid for two things, which is scheduling appointments or booking or getting signatures, you need to be at the place where that's going to happen all day. So
Mhm.
I did it by cold calling. I would go to my office at 9 a.m. I would call my sphere of influence, or my friends, family, acquaintances, people who knew me, people I did business with, and other, like fixing my car or whatever, and then ask them for referrals. So maybe that's a call or two a day. It's not going to be a lot. And then I would go to the next group would be any new for sale by owners that had advertised themselves. So I would call them. And then I would go to new expired or canceled listings, people that have, their house left the market unsold because their agent didn't do their job. And then I would go to follow-up calls from previous cold calling I had done. And then the whole rest of the day. So I'd call from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. on weekdays. I would eat lunch every day at noon. So the real secret is every day has to look the same. So what happens to experienced agents is they may know how to make a lot of money, but they don't know how to have a life. So I never worked a weekend, never took a call, email, none of that, texting, none of that on the weekend. And I had actual 2 days off. And then you look forward to going to work on Monday. And literally sitting with my feet up on the desk, just calling nice people and asking them if they're thinking of selling the house, and knowing the exact right words to say, no matter what they say, and most of them say no, so that's easy to handle. And then going to lunch at noon. Here's the other one. When I go to lunch at noon, I don't take my phone with me. That stays in the car. So like if you and I went to lunch, the three of us, we would leave our phones in the car, and then we would be talking with each other while everybody else is typing in front of each other. And that's crazy, you know, so you need a little me time. And then like I eat breakfast at the same restaurant every day at the same time. I order the same thing. I go to that same restaurant for lunch every day at the same, unless I'm traveling. I order the same thing. I don't have to think. I don't have to look at a menu. When I'm walking in the door, they're already doing my order, and I'm out of there quicker. And it's nice. And I'm talking to my friends. Usually somebody shows up because they know I'm there and they want to eat lunch with me, or they're willing to, at least. But and then eat dinner at the same time every day. And then you can have your listing appointments or buyer appointments or investor appointments at either 2:30 in the afternoon or 7 p.m. So what that does is it doubles your income for the year, because if you have a listing appointment, let's say at 4 in the afternoon, you can't do one at 2:30 and you can't do one at 7. Now you can only do one. And that, just a little thing like that will double your income for the year. So you know, in real estate is long hours at very high pay. So I start prospecting at 9 a.m. If I have a listing appointment at 7, you know, I probably wouldn't get out of there if I got the listing till 10 p.m. That's a pretty long day. But I'm not hungry and cranky because I had lunch at noon and dinner at 5 and breakfast, and everything's easy that way. So that's really the secret for an experienced agent, is make every day look the same, run it like a business. And I used to run a barbecue restaurant, and every day the lunch rush happened at noon. Around then, the dinner rush happened at night. So in the morning we would cook, in the evening we would clean, and I would never go in there and as the manager and say, "Hey gang, we're going to try it like realtors do today. We're going to clean in the morning and cook in the evening." You know, we would never change it up. So every day was the same, and that's what made that a very successful business, and that's what makes real estate a very successful business. So make it boring, and then it's profitable. If it's exciting, you're broke.
You talk about time management and having 2 appointments, which is really interesting, because some people would be thinking, well, can I have more? But you just talked about having a life and having 2 appointments a day, and successfully having those appointments requires a lot of work. And that's a huge tip that you just gave us. I really hope our audience is listening to you. I'm listening to
I
you.
can't imagine that they are, but you know,
They have to hear what you're saying. Now, what about you? Like, what about your idea for yourself? You're in this luxury hotel right now. You're a diamond, double
Oh
diamond.
no, that's a joke. This is.
I know. I was playing along with you. You're in this hotel, you're traveling, you're living your life, you're doing what you do. But where do you see yourself a few years from now? In another hotel?
Honestly, I would do what I do forever.
Okay.
Yeah, I've arrived. You know, I'm
Oh.
not looking for, you know, that's another thing is real estate agents are always talking about goal setting. They're very big into that. The truth is that, you know, the most successful people really didn't set goals. You look at Steve Jobs, you know, nobody has influenced media more than Steve Jobs. You know, the record industry or the music industry, movies, well, computers. I'm on one now. Every Apple product ever made, I have it. His deal was trying to steal long distance service. He invented a machine that would steal long distance. He didn't have that as his goal to have all that stuff. So it's kind of a random accident. One thing leads to another. Most successful people didn't do it by setting goals. It was a series of random events, which is true for me too. But I was ready for it, and I was willing to say yes to it. You know, somebody would say, "Hey, maybe you should try real estate," and I thought, "Sure, why not? What have I got to lose? I mean, I have a crappy minimum wage job." So, and the other thing is, there's a thing I like that was from a book I've read, and that is all people set goals. Successful people set goals, unsuccessful people set goals. The difference is that successful people are willing to change their activities to meet the goal they set.
Mhm.
Unsuccessful people change their goal to meet the activities they were unwilling to change.
Mhm.
So you have to, and again, I have people that do, this is the goal I give every real estate agent. So if you're a real estate agent, you can do this. You schedule 5 listing appointments a week. So we teach you how to do that. But the goal is 5. So that would be 40. I always say that real estate agents, there's 52 weeks in a real year, but there's only 40 weeks in a realtor's year because, Jesus was only born on one day, but we over celebrate that even by his standards. And then the agent's, birthday, that's a 2-week extravaganza. Then I got to get them out of rehab or jail or something like that. So there's probably about 40 working weeks in a realtor's year, holidays and stuff. So if you did 1 listing a week, that's 40. So that could be easily $250,000 of net taxable income, like it was a salary job for in most price ranges around the country, far more where you guys are maybe. But probably where you are in Nashville, that's probably a $250,000 a year, which puts you in the top 1% of income earners if you did earn that. So that would be 500,000 gross closed commission. So the goal is 250 net, 500 gross, 40 for the year, 5 listing appointments scheduled for the week. That's how you do it. But you don't commit to the goal, you commit to the process that makes that goal happen. And the process is you simply do not get off the phone until you've scheduled 5. So if you called from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., you got to have lunch and dinner. But if you called from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. every weekday and you only scheduled 4, you didn't hit the goal, but you still did your best. You could not have done it any other way. So it's that simple. And Floyd taught me that, you just commit to the process, not to the goal.
I think Richard Branson says, when the opportunity knocks, say yes, and then figure it out later.
Right. Don't complain about the noise. Open the door. That's right. And Richard is doing very well, I believe, isn't he? Yeah,
I believe so. The last I've heard, yes.
I think he's driving a nicer car than me. I think he's flying a nicer car than me. If
we could quote him, and he has a few followers, to say the least.
Yeah.
Bob, I really enjoy speaking with you. This is a subject that is near and dear to both Lori and my heart on a personal level, not to mention a professional level. And we could go on and we can continue talking. Now, our audience might want to speak with you and connect with you. So we have posted all of the social media links. But is there something?
My phone is blowing up right now.
I know, right now. It won't
Amazing.
stop. Is there something that you'd like to tell our audience, give them a piece of advice or a way that they can reach you, or some message that you want them to know before we close our show tonight?
Well, if you want to hear me tell my stupid jokes on my podcast, you could go to fearlessagentpodcast.com. It's supposed to be about real estate, mostly stupid jokes. But I just did the one that just dropped, as we say in the industry, today or the other day, was a guy who it's a gratitude story. It's we've had some amazing guests on there that talk about that, and then some mostly real estate stuff too. So they could go to that. If you go to fearlessagent.tv, you'll see all my videos, and if you go to fearlessagent.com, you can see all the stuff we do. And really and if you want to call me, you can call me at 480-385-8810. That will make that phone over there ring. And I will do a complimentary coaching call. I never, ever try to sell you my coaching. So the goal is to see if it would be a good fit for you. At the end of the call, I'll say, I don't think it's a good fit for you, or I do think it's a good fit for you. You can see what you think too. And if you want to sign up, you go to my website and do it. But even, and if you want to call me about any other thing, I'm always happy to talk to anybody, always. So don't ever hesitate to pick up the phone and call. And if you're an owner of a real estate company and you want to recruit more producing agents, you can go to fearlessagentrecruiting.com and watch my video there, and then give me a call. So.
Well,
Thanks for that was a shameless plug, wasn't it?
that's fine. Be
Shameless.
unapologetically you, and then they can watch this show and they can find you another way. So we have another tool for you. Bob, it
By the
is
way, I wanted to mention when people ask me to be on their podcast all the time, and I never do it. I just don't do it. But because your topic was gratitude, and that has played such a big deal in my life, I am so grateful. I always say the opposite of happiness is not unhappiness, it's anger. And you can't be angry and grateful at the same time. So gratitude is my favorite thing. And if you have gratitude, you're going to be successful no matter what. So that fixes everything.
Bob, thank you. We're really grateful, and we're honored that you're here and that you're on our show and that we can show this to our guests and your fans as well. So you've been here to share your advice and give your advice and share your story. And this is a show that went a lot deeper than I ever anticipated and expected. I appreciate you opening up to us. And please hang around for a few minutes if you don't mind. Lori, there are guests that are watching that's saying, I want to be in Bob's seat. I want to sit in that hotel. I want to do what he does. I want to fly all over the world.
This hotel? What? Maybe they're already here.
They might be in the next room.
They're probably already here.
If someone wants to be here doing this, what do they have to do to get on the show?
Yes, absolutely. So go to facebook.com/gratitudegirls. Make sure to like that page, follow us there, and then hit message. Tell us your gratitude story. Leave us your contact information, how we can get back in touch with you. Be patient, because we have about 1.5 years waiting list now for our show.
I was 7 years old when I signed up to do this, wasn't it? That's what happened.
There is quite a wait now, but going on 10 years consecutive with the show, it's been a work in progress, and it's been a very good thing. And we've touched thousands and thousands and thousands of people's lives. And for that, we are so grateful. But we do this the fourth Tuesday night of every single month, same time, same place, same Gratitude Girls channel. So we will see you next week.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Lori.
You.
We'll see you soon.